Hello, ASI members, and thank you for joining us as we present the secret tips for trade show success. My name is Krista Taylor. I'm an account executive here at ASI, and I work with suppliers. And my coworker with me today is Kristen Metzner. She's an exhibitor account manager with ASI Show. So before we begin, we just want to let you know that we have enabled the chat feature, and you can send us any of your questions or comments, and we'll try to get to those by the end of the presentation. And don't worry if you happen to miss anything or you need to take an important phone call. We will be recording this presentation so we can email it out to you, so you can look for it in your inbox. So I think it's safe to say that I can assume that if you're listening to this webinar today, that you're going to be attending a trade show in the near future, or you've been at some trade shows before in the past. And whether you're new with us or you've been with us for a number of years, we hope to present some really interesting tips and tricks for you today. During this webinar, you'll be able to learn how to design the right booth for your products, what pre-show activities drive booth traffic, the most effective ways to engage and educate booth visitors, how to make people remember your products, and what to do after the show so that you can guarantee your ROI. And for those of you who don't know, ROI means return on investment. So let's get started. We've broken up the presentation into pre-show planning, during show engagement, and post-show follow-up so you can follow along as we go through. I'm going to hand this over to Kristen, who's going to talk to you about pre-show planning.
Hello, good afternoon. So we're going to start with the pre-show planning. Trade shows, as we know, are the best way to interact with a high number of potential buyers face-to-face, and you need to be ready to make the most out of your trade show experience. Exhibiting at a show is an investment of time and money, and you want to make it worthwhile, so prep yourself for success. One of the first things you're going to want to do is do your homework. You're going to want to define your target audience. Who are you looking to meet? Prospects, new potential customers, or current customers? This will be very important when you are engaging in a conversation with the attendees in your booth and how your conversation will flow. You're going to want to reach out to every passerby in the aisles. You never know who will become your biggest customer. In addition, you're going to want to be aware of the color-coded badges that attendees will be wearing on the show floor. Some examples of these would be yellow is for an exhibitor, red is for a distributor member, and purple is for a non-member. If you are not familiar with these, at the ASI shows, you can pick out a handout in registration stating what each color stands for. Second, you're going to want to have your pre-show marketing strategy. How are you going to reach out to your prospects prior to the show? Are you doing any promotions or email blasts to encourage distributors to come to your booth? You want your booth to be a destination on the show floor, and make sure that distributors don't miss stopping in your booth or leave the show without seeing you. We do offer pre-show email blasts that will be sent out prior to the show. You can offer incentives for distributors, such as a blast to encourage them to stop by for a free sample, quote, or discount on their first order, just to name a few. Thirdly, you're going to want to schedule activities in your booth to draw traffic. Everyone wants to be where the action is. A full, busy booth is going to pique curiosity and draw attention to your booth and also create a stir. You can do this by handing out product samples, food samples, discount coupons on their first order, or even something as simple as having a candy dish in your booth. You can also hold a drawing in your booth and encourage everyone to come back at a certain time when you announce the winners. All of these will draw more attention to your booth and have distributors flocking over to see what all the fuss is about. You're also going to want to prep your staff prior to the show. You're going to want to make sure everyone on your team and in your booth staff is on the same page and giving the same sales pitch and the sales pitch on your company and also on the products that you are exhibiting. Make sure your staff is knowledgeable and feel comfortable in speaking with potential and current customers. This is also a good time for you to make sure you have coverage in your booth at all times. Make up a schedule also for lunch breaks and bathroom breaks. You never want to leave your booth unattended or miss out on a potential lead. While you're at the ASI shows, you can also attend educational classes. These are very beneficial, and you always want to make sure you are on track with the latest trends and happenings in the industry. Most supplier classes are held on Education Day or Setup Day, so make sure to check the schedule on the ASI show website prior to the show to plan out your day. Designing the right booth for your company and products is all about trial and error. The only way to learn is by trying different things and measuring the results. The most important part of your booth, of course, is your products. They should be displayed it should be very clear what you are selling, because if people have to guess, they will just move on to the next booth. Your booth is like your storefront, and you want to make sure the first visit is a good one. As you know, first impressions mean everything. Booth sizes range from a 10 by 10 and can go up as large as you would like in 10 by 10 increments. Island booths are also an option. You can also request for additional fees a corner booth, meaning your booth is open on two sides, or premium booths, meaning your booth is closer to the entrance. You can design your own booth, or you can have a decorating company help you. You will want to have your best, most popular products in front and center, making them highly visible in your booth. You also want your company name and ASI number to be very visible. You will want your booth to be inviting to distributors so they are interested to come in and take a look. You're also going to want to make sure prior to the show that you go over your material checklist. I'm just going to touch on a few of these that I feel are most common. However, you should definitely read over all of these, and if you have any additional questions, your show representative will be more than happy to go over them in further detail with you. The ASI show provides an exhibitor manual which can be found on the show-specific website, and this is always a good reference that gives contact information and early deadlines to have your orders in to save time and money. One thing you do not want to do is wait until you get to show site to order. Not only will this take additional time, but you will also be paying higher rates. For internet, you're going to want to make sure that this is ordered in advance if the convention center does not have Wi-Fi. You're also going to want to make sure that you have your password at the start of the show. Electricity, you will want to order if you need to hook up any laptops, chargers, or need more additional lighting to showcase products. At the ASI show, carpet comes with your booth. It is a tuxedo color. However, if you want a different color or want padding, this would be additional, and you would have to pre-order this. The other thing you're going to want to arrange is your material handling. When I say material handling, this is how your freight gets from the loading dock to your booth. Someone needs to move it in, and you need to arrange for that in advance. This is where your decorator comes in. You'll ship your booth to the warehouse in advance, or you can ship it directly to the convention center. We have convenient shipping labels on our website with ship dates and deadlines for your convenience. Again, if you have additional questions, your ASI show representative would be happy to help you. Another tip you do want to keep in mind is you always want to make sure you do bring your tracking label, so if by some chance your freight does get lost, this is the only way that we would be able to track that for you. Another and very important thing that you do want to make sure you do have is some type of lead tracking system. How are you going to keep track of all your leads? We do offer lead retrieval rentals that come in a few different options. One of them is called Expo Smart, which is a lead retrieval app from your phone. It's compatible with all smartphones, and all you have to do is scan the QR code on the attendee badge, and you can quickly capture your leads, and you don't even have to rent any hardware. Another option is Expo Access, which is a lead retrieval device which includes a high-speed pistol grip scanner, which is linked to a BlackBerry smartphone. Again, you can just scan the QR code on the attendee badge. You will capture the leads. However, with this option, you will have qualifiers that you can choose to put into the system, and then these leads will automatically be uploaded right to the cloud in real time for immediate access. this is a great option while you are at the show because you can actually start follow-up if you ever have some dead time in the booth, and you can get your follow-up done even before you leave the show. Another one is the Expo Scan, which is a compact mobile integrated badge reader, and it has internal memory that does not require an electrical hookup.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our during show engagement. So we're going to go over how to educate and engage, how to stand out from the crowd, and finally also how to take the most effective notes. So once we're at the show, how are you really going to stand out among your competitors? Here at ASI, we're the producers of the trade show, so it's our job to get people to the show, but it's your job to get them into your booth. How are you going to do that? Well, you're not just going to sell them. You're really going to need to educate them. You really want to encourage your distributors, and you want to be an expert and a partner with them. You want to offer solutions that are going to help them grow your business. And the reason that that's going to help you is because then if you give them great advice, they're going to come back to you time and time again, and that means more and more orders for you. You want to focus on quality conversations over quantity. Certainly we want to try to reach out to as many people as possible, but if you feel like it's an important client, spend some time, really talk to them, really get engaged with them. And how are you going to do that? Well, you're really going to want to ask probing questions. So we're going to start here with our elevator pitch. You want to perfect your 30-second elevator pitch. And what is an elevator pitch? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you were to take a ride with a stranger on an elevator and you only had a short amount of time, how would you explain to them in a clear, concise way what you do? It's the same thing for a distributor who's visiting you in the trade show booth. You need to get your message across in a clear, concise way, but in a fast way, and get their attention. You want to ask engaging questions. My 5 least favorite words strung together are, can I scan your badge? Yes, we all say it. We all know that it's an easy way to get people into our booth, but it's not really saying very much about your company. So come up with 4 or 5 engaging questions that you can ask a distributor. What's in your pipeline that I can help you with? Tell me about a customer that you've been trying to close for quite some time, and let me offer some solutions and some ideas to get their business. What are you doing for your self-promos? These are just a couple of questions that you can come up with before you get to the show to help get real, engaging conversations going in your booth. Also, new products. Make sure that your new products that you're going to be launching, or even products that are interesting that you know people like to pick up and touch and take a look at. Maybe they like to, play with certain smaller items. You want to make sure that those are front and center in your booth. It encourages people to come in and engage with you. And finally, booth activity. You can create a game or some competitive activity that can draw attention to the visitors in your booth. I personally have seen everything from small game wheels, raffles. I've even seen alligators that people rent in their booths that draw quite a crowd. So be creative, think outside the box, and try to get the activity in your booth going. Another simple tip that I love that you can see over here on the right-hand side of our slide is that if you're creating a fun contest, let people know in advance that you're going to do it. You're going to promote it with a blast beforehand. You can ask us how you can do that, but you really want to try to promote that activity so you're getting the maximum effect. Okay, now we're going to talk about staying energized. Trade shows can certainly be exhausting. So here's a couple of little tips that I usually tell my suppliers. Keep little snacks with you in the booth. That way, if you have a little bit of a lull, you can peek around, you can grab that snack and eat it before anyone's going to be in your booth. But I do encourage you, please, please, do not eat a full lunch in your booth. Try to have other staff. If you have to do it, try to make it at the most opportune time where you know that people aren't going to be in your booth. There's nothing worse than walking in and seeing someone eating their lunch, sitting on a chair and not engaging with the distributor. It's simple too, again, but no chewing gum. Even though it might keep you energized and get you going, please do not have any sort of gum in your mouth. I want you to stand up, walk around. It's going to encourage you to stay energized throughout the day. And also make eye contact. It's so important. I think sometimes we take our own shopping experiences and we think, I don't want anyone to look at me, I don't want anyone to look at me. But really, if you have the right questions and you've done your homework, you're going to be able to help offer solutions to distributors. But make eye contact with them. Don't duck your head down. Don't be timid. Really create eye contact, be bold, and be strong. Another great tip is over on the right-hand side to create a contest among your staff. If you have a few people in your booth, try to come up with different little things like, who talked to the most people, who was able to get the most business cards, who had the best story of the day, who had the best sales call. All of these little things that you can do to keep everyone engaged, keep them energized, and to get the most number of people into your booth. And then finally, we really want you to take notes. When you first get to the show, walk around the show floor, see what other exhibitors are doing. You might see a little idea that can work for you. You can, make it into your own version of that. Clearly, we don't want you to take any ideas from other suppliers, but use them. There's some really seasoned suppliers that go to our show, so you can take a look around and probably get some really great ideas. Take notes of what's working and what's not working, what materials work for you. Did you have a catalog with you in your booth? Did you have just sales sheets? Did you have enough of those? Were you giving away handouts or free samples? Did you have enough of those? All of these kinds of things you're going to need to take notes. You should also rate the visitors that come to see you. Ask them for their business card. You could have your lead retrieval already, but ask them for that business card and write a number from 1 to 5, 5 being the coldest, 1 being the hottest lead, so that when you go to do your follow-up, you know exactly who you need to get to first, and then you can work your way down the list.
So now that you've had a successful show, you're going to want to leave the show floor, go back to your offices, and the first thing you're going to want to do is regroup. You're going to want to go over things. Did you have a successful show? What would you repeat and what would you avoid? What could you have done better while you were on show site? What offers worked? What offers didn't? And what do you need to follow up on? Post-show follow-up is the most important step of a trade show, and believe it or not, many suppliers don't bother to complete this last step. This could really make or break your whole trade show, your sales, and the connections that you've met at the show, and you certainly don't want to lose everything after you have done, or what you've done at the show. So you definitely need to follow up. You need to finish strong and follow up. While your leads and notes are still fresh in your mind, set yourself a reasonable time frame and deadline to follow up. I know some of the months get crazy with the amount of trade shows that all suppliers attend, so if you can follow up, make sure that you have somebody in your office that you can trust and rely on to follow up for you in a timely fashion. Just like I had mentioned for the pre-show email blast, ASI offers a post-show email blast that will get sent out to all of the distributors that have attended the show within 2 weeks. This is a great way to make sure you've reached out to all of these distributors right after the show. You're going to want to follow up with your hottest leads first and then work your way down the list. What did you promise them? If you promised them samples, you're going to want to get them sent out the first week of getting back from a show. This will make the distributor feel comfortable in doing business with you and will make them feel that you are reliable, and then you will be there for them as their supplier. The same goes for with a quote. You want to get that out as soon as you return from the show. You don't want to let your distributor down. Just like preparing for a trade show, you're going to want to do all your homework after the show. Write a post-show review of the things that went well and the things that didn't, and start planning and implement the changes for your next show. Sit down with your booth staff and come up with ways to improve your booth, your presence, and also your elevator pitch. Determine what are the things that you need to correct right away and things that you can hold off on. The more communication you have with your team prior to the show and after is your key to an overall successful show.
So now we know that you have a lot to do, but please do not feel overwhelmed. We are here to help you. You can see listed on the screen are both Kristen and my email address. please feel free, if you have any questions specific to trade show, you can certainly email Kristen. Anything related to ASI or any ASI marketing questions that you might have, you can email me directly. We'll be happy to assist you, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. And then finally, I will check the chat as we're going through just to see if we had anyone type any questions. Doesn't look like we have anything right now, but if you happen to think of anything after the webinar, again, please feel free to email any one of us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And finally, again, we will be sending this out to you, so please look for it in your inbox. We want to thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. We know everyone is extremely busy, but we really hope that you found some helpful hints and tips and tricks that we were able to provide to you to make this next trade show your most successful one. Thanks, and have a great holiday season.
Oh, yes.